Dr. Shiva, we have some really news from good news from the ground. We have a number of our Truth Freedom warriors on the live today. We're going to wait for people to join. We're a little bit early. So we have Marika out in Alberta. Heather, where are you out of?
I'm in Calgary, Alberta.
Calgary. We have Desiree, Stephen, and Marty, who are literally in Ottawa right now. Desiree was with the convoy, and she's going to be reporting live what's going on. John's here in Cambridge, and I'm here also in Belmont here. We're going to wait for people to join, but as it's very cold out there.
This is probably about good.
So Desiree,
he wants us to be able to still hear. Yeah.
Hey Desiree, do you want us to play the video? Do you have a couple minutes, or are you almost there?
We're there pretty much.
Let's go to the
Okay.
monument.
So
Well,
what we want, do you have a couple of minutes? I can just play this quick video, Desiree, then we come to you.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So we want to just give everyone a quick update. Everyone knows that the convoy, the truckers convoy in Canada, which everyone should be supporting, it's working.
Well, I'd have to be able to hear.
And can you just mute her for a while, John? We'll be right back. Have descended upon Ottawa. The Trudeau fellow has basically fled Ottawa with his family, and he's in hiding right now. So no one knows where the hell he is. But it shows what happens when working people rise up. And one of the things that we want to do is I want to just set the stage for what Desiree is going to share with us. We have a video that just came out this morning, I believe, from the Canadian Transport Minister. Okay, this is from the Canadian Transport Minister. John, can you play that video? This is the Canadian Transport Minister talking about the protest. Go ahead, John. Can you play this?
Yep.
With so many people on Parliament Hill, will the government now rethink its cross-border trucking vaccine mandate? What's the response from politicians?
You got to mute people.
We did ask Aaron O'Toole and several members of the Conservative Party to join us this morning, but they were unavailable. But joining me now is the Federal Transport Minister, Omar Al-Gabra. Good to have you on the program. Minister, what is your reaction to the protest and the message that these people feel that the government's heavy-handed approach is infringing on their freedoms?
Good morning, Evan, and it's good to be back on your show. Let me just say that most credible trucking organizations have distanced themselves from this protest, including the Canadian Trucking Alliance, and in fact, they've issued several statements, including another one yesterday. And as you and I are speaking, truckers are delivering for Canadians. They are almost 90% of them are fully vaccinated. They are delivering across the border and ensuring that goods Canadians need are being delivered. Second, look, I am relieved that so far the protest has been peaceful. I hope that if the protest is going to continue, that it remains peaceful. It is really important to remind everybody why we have these mandates. I share the frustration that most Canadians have towards public health measures. We all want to get out of the pandemic as quickly as possible. And this is why we have these mandates. It's not the first time that governments mandate public health measures, especially when we are in a pandemic. So these measures are necessary.
I got to tell you, Minister, I was out there speaking to a lot of different people. A lot of them are furious at the Prime Minister for dismissing them as a, quote, fringe minority holding unacceptable views. They go back to comments the Prime Minister made during the election about people being racist. They felt that they were being dismissed, that they were being disrespected, and that's animated their anger and fueling a lot of this. What is the response? Were those statements mistakes?
Evan, I'm sure not everyone, obviously, at that protest or people who are sympathetic to that protest are racist. But some of the images and the voices that we heard come out of that protest was alarming. Canadians saw for themselves. We had swastika flags. We had the Confederate flag. We had voices that call for the overthrow of the government. Canadians saw for themselves that some voices are really disturbing and unacceptable. So I understand that there are some people who are sympathetic to the protest for other reasons. but we cannot look the other way. Yesterday was the 5th anniversary for the Quebec mass shooting. Just a few days ago, we commemorated the Holocaust Memorial. And we always say, never again. It is alarming to see swastika being flown on Parliament Hill yesterday.
So,
Can you
Minister,
bring it back,
what do
please?
you make of
Yeah, so
conservatives like
anyway,
Michael Cooper
so we
was on
see
the
this
Hill,
is
many
the
others?
official story from the Canadian Health Minister. We've seen some comments about what people think about this, but the big thing that everyone needs to understand is the Canadian government has been colluding with some of the big truckers alliances to actually squeeze workers, and we'll talk about that. They've been pushing so much regulations on these small and large trucking, I mean, the small business truckers, that the vaccine mandates are actually part of a long history of attacks. But let's actually go over to Desiree, Truth Freedom Health warrior scholar on the ground. She has taken, she's been with the convoy. Go ahead, Desiree, tell us what's going on down there. Tell us, can you show us all the Nazi
There is lots Nazi flags. I haven't seen one.
Okay.
I can show you. We're just down the road. So I don't know if you can see behind me, but the police are down that way. They blocked the roads off everywhere. I'm gonna go around. We're just a ways away because we want you to be able to hear us for right now.
Okay.
So I've seen lots of people, like earlier, everybody was up speaking and they want everything to end. People are peaceful. They're very much encouraging peacefulness. Do the Canadian thing, you know. That's the message, honestly. We just want it to stop. End the mandates. We want our freedom.
There's as many people as Canada Day.
Oh, it's probably more than Canada Day.
How many? So to let everyone know that you guys are a little bit down the street because by the time you get there, it's going to get very, very loud, right?
Yeah, I can show you guys. I'll walk down there,
Yeah, so
but you
why
ain't
don't you
going to hear me, and I'm not going to be able to hear you. So you just
Okay,
got to
so
give me a wave.
Yeah, but we just want to let people know that the mainstream news media has no reporters really on the ground sharing any of this. So you're basically the Truth Freedom Health reporter now. So go share everything, Desiree. Why don't you walk down? Walk down and show us what's going on down there.
I will. One thing along with that, one of the doctors who spoke earlier this afternoon, he had a sheet of paper and it was taking him a little bit of time to fumble through his papers. And then, so it was a little bit of an awkward silence and he felt kind of bad. So we're cheering for him. And then everybody was like, thank you for the truth. Thank you for the truth. Thank you for the truth. So that was super fun. I was like, yes.
That's awesome.
So that's the atmosphere here.
That's excellent. Well,
Yeah.
I think a lot of the work you and everyone, a lot of the activists we've been doing, we've been hammering away at this point that we need to build a bottoms-up movement of working people. So that's what's so exciting to see these truckers and working people coming up. And as you're walking down, I'll talk to our audience, and maybe when you get there, you can show the number of people, Desiree. Okay, so we'll walk with you, and we'll just get Heather and Marika also to say a few words. Okay, so keep walking down and share with us the scenes. You know, if you could, you can flip your camera too, right?
I don't really know how to do that.
So don't worry about that. Then just turn it the other way. But you got to get us some good shots, okay? So everyone sees.
I will get you good shots. I promise.
Yes, so you have close to 700 people live watching you guys.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, from all over the world. Yeah, and I'll keep putting up. So one of the first things we want to let people know is that the working people in Canada have put forward demands for truth, freedom, and health. And Desiree and I spoke earlier, and we want to share with you some of those demands. And our movement has always put the focus on, John, can you put the truthfreedomhealth.com, has always put the focus on building a bottoms-up movement, people to understand the dynamics of what it takes to build a movement. And Desiree, Marika, Heather, and we have close to 2,000 Truth Freedom Health members and warriors all over Canada now. But they've been out there educating people, distributing flyers, etc. But one of the core things is movements are not going to be won by any type of top-down model. It's got to be bottoms up. So that's what's so exciting about this. But one of the key things to remember is right when movements like this come up, the not so obvious establishment is going to organize to overtake these movements. So we're going to share with you sort of the core demands that the movement for Truth, Freedom, and Health has put forward, which is in alignment, which is number one. John, can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, the number one is, if you can see this, is we need to end the Trudeau government workers to power. Some people said end the Trudeau government. That means we don't want to replace it with another boss, but working people need to participate in government, not just lawyers, not just another set of politicians, but working people. This means people like truckers, people who work for a living. So it's a very important first demand. The second one is end the jab, pass, and mask mandates. No to division and segregation. It is the government which perpetuates racism. And they're trying to point the finger at these everyday people rising up from the bottom. It is a government which does divide and rule. When it comes to truth, our movement, and people on the ground are putting forward that many of these universities have a huge pharma alliance. So the truth never comes out. So the narratives they build, Desiree was sharing with me earlier that the health minister, Desiree, you may want to get Desiree in. Desiree was telling us that one of the health ministers was saying that vitamin D has no effect at all. Right, Desiree? That vitamin D has no effect. That's what the health minister is saying. So, when someone says something ridiculous like that.
So what she said was that vitamin D was fake news.
Yeah, vitamin D was fake news. So we demand that we start investigating these universities and their alliance with pharma. When it comes to freedom, we know that in Canada or the United States or everywhere, governments have an unholy alliance with big tech. This is how they're able to censor speech. So that's got to end. When it comes to health, no more one-size-fits-all medicine. The health model is not going to move forward by saying everyone needs to get the jab or everyone needs to do this. And finally, if they want to talk about racism, we can talk about the infrastructure in the inner cities, be it Canada or elsewhere. There's not proper infrastructure. So I just want everyone to see we have very, very clear demands. But most importantly, we need to escalate this movement. This movement, initially, people thought they want to constrain it to be about vax and no vax. That's not what it's about. If you look at the history in Canada, 23,000 truckers there's a deficit of 23,000 truckers in Canada. No one wants to go to the trucking business because the wages have explosively gone down and the government has imposed massive regulations on these small business truckers. It becomes so expensive to be a small business trucker. So people are not going to the trucking business. So the regulatory framework has been destroying the truckers, not only in Canada, in this country. I went to a big protest in the White House about a couple of months ago. So what we're witnessing here, it's beyond vax and anti-vax. So Truth, Freedom, and Health says we need to escalate this movement. It can't just be about vaccines or no vaccines. They may just throw us, we got rid of the vax now, mandates. Now what? Everyone go back home. No, this movement has to escalate beyond vax and anti-vax to build a powerful bottoms-up movement. And let's talk to Desiree. But the most important thing is it cannot be just restricted to just the vax, anti-vax discourse. Heather, do you want to say anything before we go to Desiree? You have to unmute yourself. What you got?
That was Desiree.
Desiree, you can turn on the volume. Yeah, you can turn on the volume so people can hear.
Okay. Ow. Yeah, I can turn on the volume. Sorry. There's so much honking. I can hardly hear you.
That's okay.
Okay.
There we are. That's right in Ottawa. Desiree is right in Ottawa. You can keep showing us.
I can keep showing you. I am in Ottawa. See, look at how pretty it is.
I've been there many, many times.
We're trying to find a high spot where I can show you more things and people. And where they were doing the discussion earlier. But here for now, I'll just let you be up in the air while I'm walking.
Okay, so we'll come back. We'll come back to you. So the main thing we want to share with everyone is that when a movement comes up like this, there's a lot of excitement. And then people forget there are forces right now One force wants to crush this movement, call it, it's all about Nazis. Another group of people are vying to try to sell out the movement. They'll try to say, okay, we just got the vax mandates removed. Let's all go back to work, or vote another government into power, another party. And that's called the not so obvious establishment. And we teach people that in our movement. It's the not so obvious establishment, which is always the enemy of movements. So we got to watch out for that. Marika, do you want to say any points to that before we go back? We're live in Ottawa with Desiree. Go ahead, Marika.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Shiva, for doing this live and bringing the truth, what's happening in Canada. Actually, you know,
you're in Canada. Let everyone know you're in Canada. You're in Alberta.
Yes, I'm in Calgary, in Canada. And you have been talking about this power that truckers actually have. And truckers not being in union in Canada, not many of them actually have tremendous power that they stepped into it. And I just wish the more people will realize and learn about the not so obvious establishment and the controlled opposition that is actually playing out now, and they're trying to corrupt people back to establishment. And I have been watching and following and how actually is going to play in just kind of in the background what needs to happen. So there's all these grifters now coming on and supporting truckers, and I see this as taking away the power that they have. So I'm very proud of this movement that has been through from the day one, making it clear that the working people need to unite and that we need to learn basically what is down the road, and we need to be educated. So thank you for bringing us on and to bring awareness. It is pretty hard. Censorship is huge. You saw the transportation minister on the news. There's no reports of the how huge this is, and actually it's taking over all around the world. We have people organizing truckers in Australia, in Croatia, all through Europe. It's becoming a very, very big.
Marika, let's just go over to Desiree. Desiree, do you want to show us what you got? Desiree, why don't you show us some? Okay,
I've been showing, sorry, I didn't know if you had seen or not, but I was showing along the way. I just found some other people from my home province. But here, apparently they're shaking a semi, but I think it's all in good fun. Here.
Okay. So there we go. Marika, can you head over there? Marika, can you head over to the balcony? It's live in Ottawa. Desiree's out there. And one of the most important things I want to tell people is that, you know, we have been telling the working people to unite, and this is what the beginnings of the movement look like. Desiree, can you walk closer over there?
Absolutely.
Okay. So Desiree, our Truth Freedom Health warriors have gone through training. She's been on the ground. She's been making signs. She's been on the convoy.
Okay, I'm on the ground.
There we go. Excellent. Workers unite. That's right. Someone just said working class unite. There we go.
I'm photobombing. Woo, we're live with Dr.SHIVA right now.
That's excellent.
It's a dance party.
Let's see.
I don't see any Nazis here.
Share a little bit about your what you said. Heather?
Pardon me?
Yeah, can you tell us where you are in Canada and what you witnessed there? Go ahead.
I'm in Calgary, and I was down at the rally yesterday. We've had rallies recently that have the numbers have been growing and growing, and the enthusiasm and excitement and peacefulness and unity that is bringing our country together has been really beautiful. There's been, I've been moved to tears daily watching the convoy move across the country, seeing children and families and neighbors, seeing the Hutterites, who are typically very apolitical, come out and support the movement was incredibly moving, and their dedication to ensuring that truckers and people in the convoy were fed despite RCMP attempting to not permit that from happening. I've seen nuns. Like, I mean, it is this bottom up movement seems to really work and is really effective, and it's come together rather organically, and it's very inspiring. So I think it's important for us to organize ourselves so that we can be as effective as possible within the movement that's taking place. So I appreciate you being here, Dr. Shiva, and
You're welcome. We have a lot of people thanking you guys and thanking us for the coverage, because the mainstream media is not covering this. Let me go back to Desiree. Desiree, are you there? Let's go back to Desiree. Desiree, there's a lot of people very, very excited. And
I can't. What is I don't know what you're asking me.
Yeah, there you go. Excellent. That's awesome. There we go. That's on the ground.
Apparently, somebody walked for a half hour down that way, and they still didn't get through the crowd.
I say.
Half hour they were walking, so I don't know.
Yeah, isn't it interesting? Yeah, there's a lot of people there. Hold on. Let's go right to a solo layout there. There we go. So Desiree, one of our Truth Freedom Heath warriors, is on the ground. People from all over, very, very supportive of this bottoms-up movement that's starting to take place. All right. It's awesome. So, Desiree, if you can keep hold, I'm just going to give people a quick analysis, okay?
Well, okay. I don't see a lot of hate or Nazis or rude people. There's people of all different ethnicities here. There may be a few beverages, and I might smell a little bit of pot, but maybe this is a winter Woodstock or something. Yeah, people are peaceful, happy, cheering for freedom. Like I said yesterday when I came, it was overwhelming. Just so many people, and I haven't been down the half of it. Like, I haven't done all the walk or anything yet. And it's gotten cooler, and they had a lot of people speaking earlier this afternoon. So the main area I showed you, there was no empty spaces earlier today.
I see.
But
Wow.
I think we all kind of have our threshold on how long we can stay outside, and we got to find bathrooms.
Yeah, why don't you walk back, get warm, but we have a lot of people saying, thanking you. They're saying Truth, Freedom, and Health on the ground. So if you need to head back, Desiree, just keep showing and head back and get warm.
I'm good for a bit yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
Let me just give, I think one of the main things that you and I were talking, Desiree, earlier was the following, that when a movement like this builds, and Marika and I've been talking about this, is that you have the obvious establishment, you have the not so obvious establishment, what we call the grifters, and then you have our movement, frankly. And historically, movements like Truth, Freedom, and Health have always been snuffed out by the not so obvious establishment. When a movement comes up, the not so obvious establishment uses people like this, corrals them into one wing of the establishment. So they take the fervor and the anger of people and the excitement, and then they say, yeah, we don't want the Trudeau government, but they get ready to put in some other government, okay? And that's what's happening. We're seeing that on the ground as we speak. So because our movement exists, we're going to be the watchdog of that. And as I shared earlier, these are the real demands of the movement for truth, freedom, and health. And these are the demands I want to share with everyone. We shared earlier, but it's important to bring them up. It's definitely end the Trudeau government, but it doesn't mean replace that government with another. It means workers to power, okay? And that means working people come to power. And obviously the mandates and the jab passports. No to divisions and segregation. It is the government, be it Canadian government or other governments, that have been doing divide and rule. When it comes to truth, we need to start investigating these universities and these university professors and their collusion with big pharma. We need to also end the government's unholy alliance with big tech. And finally, when it comes to health, the health cannot be based on one-size-fits-all medicine. And if the governments, like Canada, really want to end racism, besides pointing the finger and saying there's Nazis here and there, the real way to end racism is infrastructure in the inner cities. So these are the big core demands that working people want. Working people do not want one government being replaced by another government. And it's very, very valuable that people have risen up, and working people, and the core of our movement has always been working people unite. So it's really, really powerful to see that message getting through. And the other, someone just posted, France protested at Pfizer. We've been telling people to go to the heart of where the establishment is. And they're not really at government buildings. So we did a massive protest here in Cambridge at Pfizer. Someone in France is following suit, etc. But our movement for truth, freedom, and health is really the guiding light to make sure that the not so obvious establishment doesn't hijack movements, be it the Kennedys in the US or the Democrats or the so-called certain wings of the right-wing party, right? None of these serve any interest of the working people. And this movement must escalate. Marika, do you want to say a couple of other things? Oh, there we are. Go ahead, Heather. Sorry, go ahead, Desiree.
Are giving us hey, I was just showing you a sign that this lovely lady has here. It says, "You give me hope." Yeah.
That's awesome. How are you?
Choice.
Good to see you.
Choice. Making your own decision. Yeah. Exactly. To have a vaccine that might hurt you. Yeah. Hope for choice and not being forced to take a vaccine that might hurt you. Some people don't want it. Yeah. And our rights were taken away because we didn't want it. Yeah. Yeah, so she's just saying our rights are being taken away if we don't want it. So if you want it, get it. If we don't want it, let us not get it, right? That's exactly what everyone's saying. The truckers, I guess that is a saying here. Truckers are giving people hope. Yeah. You know, the one thing that I seen yesterday or 2 or 3 days ago, I came from Saskatchewan. Wow, yeah. And we met them in a hotel today. Okay, cool. And the one side said, "You woke my sister," as we're driving through the middle of nowhere. It was super sweet. Just that we're giving people hope. And that's the big news these days. Yeah. I'm going to plug my phone in.
That's awesome.
To my battery.
Okay. So Desiree, we're going to just wrap it up, but this was wonderful. So there are the truckers. Desiree?
Have a good day. You too.
Desiree, that was awesome.
Thank you.
People are very, very excited. So you're getting support from Poland, Bolivia, Australia, Scotland, all over the world. So just let people know that, okay? And I don't know, can you get close up to one of the truckers? Desiree?
I've got like 1% battery left, you guys. Hold on.
No worries. We'll wrap up here.
I can't hear you.
No worries. We'll wrap up. I'm going to take her from this. We'll leave her over there. John, I'm just going to wrap it up. Okay. So just to be clear to everyone, just to summarize, there's a massive movement of working people who got united, and they got united against the attack on truth, freedom, and health in Canada. Okay. And those working people took to the streets, which means they organized a convoy. Desiree, we have about close to 2,000 members in our movement all over. People have been working very hard, educating people on the ground, one-on-one, which the news media will never cover. People like Marika, Heather just joined as a new Truth Freedom Health warrior, but our movement is about bottoms up. The movement with truckers in Canada is just the beginning. The not so obvious establishment right now is running around in the back rooms. I guarantee you, trying to make deals with different wings of the establishment. Hey, let's give them the vax, let's eliminate the vax mandate and we'll negotiate something to against the working people. That's typically what they do. So this is a moment for vigilance. This is not, yes, people should be excited that working people came out, but history teaches us this is a moment for vigilance and to escalate the movement. This is a moment to bring more working people into this, not just end with or focus it, which the media wants to make it just about vaccines. That's what the media wants it to do, but it's not about vaccines. As if you talk to and you look at what's been going on in Canada or the United States or anywhere in the world, working people are being enslaved. The vaccine mandates are part of a long history of that regulatory attack on people. The jab mandates have nothing to do with health. They're really about control, power, and profit. Power, profit, and control. So, Marika, do you want to say a few things before we end?
Yes, sure.
Just to hit on these points of the not so obvious establishment before we end. Go ahead.
Yes. I mean, this is obvious what's going on now, that how desperate government is and using all the means to corral people back. I worry a little bit about people not knowing really and understanding what can happen to the movement because they, if they don't stand their ground, they were committed to stay on the grounds, by the way, until Trudeau leaves and all the mandates are scrapped. So we will see what's going to happen. We keep following. I encourage people to get serious about and to get to know more because it's available, that knowledge is available, how we actually slowly got enslaved over a long period of time. And we are talking at least last 50 years. Yeah, so that knowledge is available. So everybody should join our movement, which is standing for Truth Freedom Health. And we have a government pushing for more power, more profit, and more control.
Thank you, Marika. So I think the key takeaway is someone just put up one bad RF case for vaccination of all Americans, and he himself is vaccinated along with his entire family. I think the key thing right now is people need to recognize that a movement has begun. It's begun. And that movement cannot explosively grow without the right political theory. So I want everyone to go to truthfreedomhealth.com. We have organized that curriculum. So A, you get educated. Without educated, movements will die very, very quickly. They'll get overtaken. B, people need to have community of other people who are at a level of consciousness that understand there's not 15 or 10 or many different ways to win. There's frankly one way, and that is the way of understanding systems theory, building community, and getting on the ground to do activism. And our movement is the only movement on the planet that offers that. It is, frankly, the only way forward. And this is why the people in Canada or activists out there have been pounding away, telling people to build a bottoms-up movement. And we're seeing that. And it's really, really important at this point that people recognize to grow this movement, we need to be aware of the not so obvious establishment, right? Like in the United States, like the Trump or the Kennedys or the Bernies. And in Canada right now, as Marika and just shared, there's the not so obvious establishment is coming in like vultures. They want to snuff this movement out. They're figuring out ways to use the movement to negotiate political position. That's called opportunism. You know, I did a video a couple of days ago talking about Neil Young, who's from Canada, if you remember Marika and Heather, and this other guy, Joe Rogan. And a lot of the people who frankly are unconscious incompetence got so upset. Why am I attacking Joe Rogan? Well, Joe Rogan is institutionalized, not so obvious establishment. Just because he covers certain things doesn't mean he's for a working people's movement. And Neil Young, you know, was against GMOs at one point. Now he's pro-vax. Joe Rogan was pro-GMO. He had the #1 guy who was like the Fauci of GMOs, Kevin Folta, on a show, praising him. But even though people said put Dr. Shiva on, he never did. And he'll never put someone like me on because we are the real fighters. He will put the not so obvious establishment on and create a dialectic. And that is what the media does. The media wants to make the truckers movement pro-vax, anti-vax. That's not what it is. It's not what it is. And we have to be very careful that the politicians and the opportunists will come in and they may even say, okay, we're going to eliminate the vax mandates. But they will take a pound of flesh from the working people for that. That's what vultures do. So that's what I wanted to let everyone know, that what's occurring in Canada is historic, but it will be unfortunate if the movement doesn't escalate. And the good news is a movement for truth, freedom, and health exists. Historically, a movement like ours did not exist. People rise up, and then you know what happens? Boom, the movement sort of just evaporates because the not so obvious establishment destroys it. Let's just say a few words from Desiree and we'll sign off. Thank you, everyone. Desiree, do you have any final words? Do you have any final words? Oops, go ahead. John, we need to. Go ahead, Desiree, final words. We're signing off.
Okay, any final words? You know what? Just that this crowd gives us hope. Apparently, we're the hope for other people, other countries, other places, and hope for freedom. So thanks for watching, and get out and do some local activism.
Show your sign. Show your sign right there.
No, Marty. Oh my goodness, Dr. Shiva, do you want to see the guy that's in his Speedo?
Yeah, let's see him.
Okay, hold on. I swear to goodness. Hold on. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you guys see him?
Yeah. Why don't you show our sign for truth? You have one of our signs there for truth, freedom, and health?
My sign is somewhere with Marty. I've lost them.
No worries. Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. Be well. Be the light. truthfreedomandhealth.com. Let's build the movement. Thank you, Heather. Great to have you, one of our new warrior scholars.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marika. Bye-bye. Thanks, John, for helping.